Hello, welcome to Like Love Do. Today we're going to look at mixed media. I did the layout on the left using stars, and today I'm going to recreate it and make the layout on the right using flowers in the same way. I've chosen a picture that I've had sitting on the side for a while and I haven't actually used yet. So I've chosen some papers as well, which are the Simple Stories, and they are the Hello Today new collection. So I've decided on which colours I want to use, and I'm just going to back my photo and arrange the papers where I want them on the page. I settled on 3 papers in the end, the September, the May and the December, which I really liked. They worked really well with my photo. And I'm going to matte my picture, and I'm going to distress all of the edges once I've done it. So I'm just going to cut this all freehand. I'm going to matte it 3 times. The first matte is obviously white. My second matte is going to be the September, which is the mustard. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to matte it with the December, which I've already gutted to make an outline for the outside of my page. I like to ruffle my edges with a pair of scissors. You can buy paper scrapers as well, which would do the job, but scissors are fine. And then, as you can see, I'm still playing with the papers and trying to decide whether there's another colour I could use instead, but I still settle with the same 3 colours. I cut out a larger mat, slightly bigger, and I'm going to set this slightly wonky when I'm finished, and I'm still distressing the edges of those as well. I had a few pieces of spare card from a previous project, and I've just made a couple of little tags. I'm not sure where I'm going to put these yet. I'm going to mount them around the photo in some way, but I'm just going to make the 3 tags up and get them ready for when I want to dress up my page. I've now placed my papers onto my background piece of paper, which is a thick sheet of white cardstock, about 300 GSM, so it's perfect for watercolouring. I'm just marking out where the papers are going to be so I know where to put the paint and the texture paste on my page. So I'm going to do a technique which is called smooshing, and I'm using a piece of plastic to the right of my paper there, which you can see, and I've just put some of the ink pad directly onto the paper, and then I've squirted it with water. Then I'm going to use a smaller piece of plastic to transfer this over to my paper. This way your page doesn't get too wet, it doesn't warp it. I quite like this, and the oxides, they sit really nicely on the paper. They've got an almost chalky opaque finish as well. This one is Tattered Rose, the first colour I'm using. And the second colour is the Abandoned Coral, which I love because it's really vibrant. You'll see in a minute when I put it on, it's really quite vibrant, and it just sits over the top of the Tattered Rose, which is my base colour. My third colour of choice is going to be the Fossilised Amber, which is a really lovely mustard colour, which I really like as well. Keep going over until you're happy with all the colour placement. If you find your page does get a bit wet, you can blot it with a kitchen towel to soak up any extra excess water. Next up, we're going to do some stenciling. I believe this is an old Vicky Bouton stencil that I had, but I could be wrong, I can't remember. It's got some stars and some stripes on. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Tattered Rose Distress Oxide again with a foam pad over the stripes. I'm going to add it to the bottom right and the top left hand corner. It just very pale, just light, very lightly. It's not going to be very vibrant, it's just going to be a bit of an undercolour. Next up, I'm going to use another stencil. Again, I don't know what this one's from, but there's some really tiny little fine lines, and I'm using just a black ink pad just to go over that, and that's just going to be just underneath the paper strip that I'm going to put across the page, just to create a little bit of an edging. Next up, I'm going to do some stamping. I'm just going to place 3 different elements of stamps in 3 different places on the page. This one's an old Technique Tuesday Sassy stamp, because that's where I was in the photo in France. And then I've got 2 more, which I believe are Studio Calico stamps. I'm using just a black ink pad. If your page is wet, I suggest you use an archival stamp pad, a permanent one, rather than a water-based stamp pad, so that it doesn't run. Here I'm using a Disillusions border stamp. It's a little row of hearts. On the other page I used one with little black and white checkered marks. I quite like this, it's got little flags on it and stuff like that. You can use it for quite a lot of different pages. And I'm just popping it above where the paper strip will be on either side. The last bit of stenciling, I'm going to go in with some Nouveau dots actually. I've got lots and lots of Nouveau dots, and I find sometimes if they're open for a while, they can dry up after a little while. So I'm going to try and use them up as much as possible. So I'm using a pink one, and I'm going to use it over my stencil. You get a really nice, shiny but opaque look. I quite like the effect. And we're going to use some pink dots here. I'm going to put them in 3 places: top left, bottom right, and top right. I decided I needed a few more individual flowers, and I wanted them to be quite bright. So I've gone in, I've used an Altenew Floral Elements stamp set and die set. I'm just using the 2 flowers and the leaf as well. The colours I've used here are the ruby red in Altenew stamps and the moss green, and I'm also going to go in and use the oxide stamp pad that I used earlier in the fossilised amber. I'm just going to cut a few out to make 3 separate elements for my page. I really like using my Sizzix Sidekick for this because I don't have to move. It's so tiny, perfect for small dies. So I don't even have to get up and get my big shot out. I can just put it straight in front of me, it takes up no space at all, and cut out those little elements that I need. So now it's time to build the page. Again, all of the edges have been distressed, so they're quite rough. I sometimes crease a few pieces as well, make them look a little bit shabby. I'm going to put all of the papers onto the page, so then I can start putting on my ephemera and any extra pieces that I'm going to stick on as well. So I'm lining up my photo here. I'm going to put this on flat. Sometimes I put them on foam dots, but these are going to go flat today. I've found a couple of little places for my tags. I'm going to put one on the side, possibly one at the top. I do fiddle about this for a little while to decide where I want them. And then I am going to get some embroidery thread and just feed a little bit through the hole for the top. Because I've put some black stamps on there, I want to tie this in with some black ink splats, and I've just covered up my photo, and I'm using an Indian ink, which is really black ink, with a brush just to make some splats in certain places on my page. I'm now arranging all the little pieces of stickers and elements that I've put aside, including the cutouts die cut stamped images of the flowers. I'm going to put them in 3 places. I've decided to go with the tag at the top. I'm going to put a flower up there, a flower to the right and a flower to the left, and spread them out. I've also cut my title, and I've cut my title twice. I've used the font, don't laugh, it's called Shittoberry, but we really like that font. So I've cut it twice and I've offset it and cut it again in a mustard card to stand out. The last few pieces I put on are little hearts and a couple of little dots, enamel dots. Every element that I put on has been put on with a foam dot to raise it up slightly. And there you go. So that's how you do a mixed media scrapbooking page. And you can do this in any colour. So thank you for watching. Bye.